Okay, in this video I'm going to compare two brands of ND filters, the KNF NDs that come also with a CBL and a Magic Mist filter, and the Insta360 original official models. And also there's another brand, Telesyn. I've seen a lot of reviews for Telesyn yesterday, and it popped up all of a sudden. So I'm also going to compare these two to what I've seen in those videos. So we're going to test the filters in Osaka, Japan, along Osaka's largest river, and right underneath a train bridge. So we're going to get to test the noise reduction of the DJI Mic Mini. This is the Insta360 Mic Pro, which the original one that I had broke in during my trip to Miyako Island. Hope you watch that video when it drops. So while it was getting replaced, I had to use the DJI Mic Mini. So you'll get to see how that works. I really love the Insta360 Mic Mini, by the way. It's a great mic. Really like it. One of the reviews of the Telesyn, the guy found some problems with the Telesyn NDs, and so I want to compare and check both of these NDs, the Insta360 and the KNF, for the same problems and see if they have the same problems that he had. I was honestly surprised with the results. This isn't a hook. I mean, I really was surprised. And I believe that the best ND will depend on what you want to do, what kind of videographer you are, if you're a vlogger or whatnot. So, and I will give you my thoughts on that through my experience at the end of this video. Okay, we are right underneath a train bridge, so it's going to get noisy. We're definitely going to be testing the sound reduction and noise reduction on this DJI Mic Mini. What we're doing today is we're testing the ND filters, and I've got the Insta360 original ones, and then I've got KNF. So this is the exposure that I would need to get motion blur. And I'm not even going to show my bicycle at this point because it's totally blown out. It looks like it's in log, and it's not. I have it on standard color mode right now. Okay, so we'll start with the Insta360s. Insta360 has three types. They have ND 4, 16, and 64. And I'm going to start with the 4. I don't think the 4 is going to be good enough to do anything. We've got quite a bright day today. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, it's better, but it's still kind of blown out. And then we'll go on to the next one. These are kind of hard to take off, which was like the point of my first video. You kind of scary, easy to drop. Also, it's very hard to see the writing, probably thanks to Apple. Everybody worries so much about design and not so much about ease of use of seeing things, I guess. But so right, all right. So this is the 16. What do you guys think? But actually, it's still overblown at 16. Let's go to 64. All right, and next we're going to go to 64. 64 would be better for like getting, like, I don't know, like for shooting a waterfall or something where you want it to be really slow, when you want to use a slow shutter. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Yeah, that looks perfect. And going up into the sky. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, and because this is the correct shutter speed for motion blur, it should look fine. Let's get my bicycle here. You can see with my normal eyes, I see the spokes are like a blur, and we should see a blur here as well. Then you go into the ×3 lens, because with the original ND filters, I believe it's the same glass for both lenses, but the aperture of the wide lens and the zoom lens is actually different. So I think the wide lens is 1.8 and the zoom lens is 2.0 aperture. So that means that the 2.0 aperture lens will be a little darker. So if you're using the same glass, same ND filter for both pieces, you should get different exposure. All right, so let's go on to the KNF. The KNF filters, they come with a CPL, and this is the ND. NDs on. Now what we're kind of worried about is, because this is a variable ND filter, which means you can change the darkness, like by spinning a dial. Negative side is you get a little, like a cross section. Here comes a train. So let's check noise reduction. I don't know if you can see the train. Yeah, wow, that was noisy. I could not hear myself speaking. I've got it on the step 1. It's got 5 steps on the ND here. This is step 1, and it's totally blown out as expected. And go to 2. That's 2, still blown out. 3, actually that's kind of between 3 and 4, still blown out. Let's go all the way up to 5. Okay, so that is ND32, and on this bright day, I would have to say this is still blown out. So now we have an airplane over us. So for a hot, bright day like this, in the shadows, 32 is fine, but for the sky is pretty blown out. So let's take a look at me. Now for shooting me, I think this is enough. Yeah, still a little blown out though, isn't it? Yeah. So in comparison, this is the 64. I'm guessing that is looking a lot better. Let's change these up again. So actually, guys, this is kind of what I expected. Okay, we're going to go to the zoom lens here. There we go. Okay, so it's switched to the other lens. I've already got it at the 5th step, which is 32-bit, ND32. It's workable, but it is too bright, I think. It's a little blown out, okay? But you know, not all is lost. What you can do, see, I've got the exposure here for motion blur, which is, you know, the 180 rule, but I've noticed that you don't actually have to keep the 180 rule to keep motion blur, right? Okay, so let's real quickly show you here. So this is the setting for the shutter speed. I've got it manual. Okay. This is the 3 times zoom. Then we'll go to the wide angle lens. All right. But it's still a little blown out in the background. But what we're going to do now is I'll stop the camera and, I need to get, okay, so now we're at automatic settings with the ND filter, the KNF ND filter at 5. And it looks kind of dark. Interesting. All right. So we should still have motion blur, even though we're on automatic settings on an ND filter that is probably too weak. Okay, you can see how it got even darker when I switched to the 3. How is it? Are we getting motion blur? I'm just looking at the little screen here, but I think we're still getting motion blur, as opposed to if I take it off, or even I don't have to take it. Whoa, what happened there? That was weird. All right. Okay. So even if I don't have to take it off, I'll just turn it down to 1. Okay, so this is ND1 and auto exposure, right? Can you see how it's jittery? That's because the camera is automatically really speeding up the shutter speed to control the light. And now when I go to 32, even though it's not ideal shutter speed, it should be able to adjust to a shutter speed that makes the motion blur better than nothing. Exposure, I'm setting these to 5. Let's see if we get an X. So do we have an X around me? It's something that you often see in a variable ND. Let me zoom in a little bit. Another thing is another creator with the Tenon was the name. I'll write the correct name. When he did the 3 times zoom, it blurred out. I guess his camera, the Luna, was focusing on the NDs instead of on the character, on the talent or the person. I'm gonna track myself and make sure that I am in. So I should be in focus. But yeah, the other creator I saw with the other company's ND filters, totally he was completely blurred out and out of focus. 6 times zoom, it showed up. And let me try 12 times zoom. Okay, I'll have to go check it on my computer. Anyway, so look for the X pattern that we sometimes get with ND filters, and then also see if this is in focus or not. Okay, so my final thoughts are, if you are, of course, having both of these is probably the best all around. If you're serious about, we didn't see the Xing in these like the other creator found in the Telesins, so that's good. I think the 64 is better to have, especially if you want to get into more creative stuff. You can really slow down the shutter speed more if you've got a good 64, and also, of course, if you're working in bright light. If you're going to be like vlogging, then you're going to want to go with something with a variable ND filter for sure. As I demonstrated in the video, you don't have to have exactly 180 degrees. It seems, you can still get some pretty good motion blur by using a weaker ND and using the automatic exposure. Yeah, I think that's a good workaround. It's harder to take the Insta360 versions on and off, but it's not the kind of thing you're going to be taking on and off anyway, if possible. I think it's better to just put it on and leave it on. So like when you're going to be outside for extended time, and then go with the KNF if you're going to be vlogging and stuff. I think that's the best bet. Okay, let me know in the comments if you have any questions or comments. When the ND gets a lot darker, it also has a tendency to change the color a little bit. I think the colors were really good on both of these. I didn't see any real big difference. Let me know what you think about that as well. Sunday, I'm taking a trip to Osaka Mountain, which is a live volcano. I'll be taking more shots with Insta360, Luna Ultra, and also with the X5, and because they won't let us use drones, I think. There might be one area I can use it. And then also my A6700, I think I'll take that as well. So we'll be able to do some video comparisons and get some beautiful shots of Osaka Mountain, I hope. I'm really excited about this. If you're interested in seeing more of what the Luna Ultra can do, with Japan as the scenery, then think about following or subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.
Can't stop, won't stop, just like a rolling stone.